Dr. Doom once ripped Thanos' spine out mid-sentence.
That appears untrue.
And somewhere on this list, a girl with squirrels genuinely worries him. This is every Marvel hero ranked by their real shot at beating Doom. Cyclops has optic blasts powerful enough to level reinforced structures, concussive force that staggered some of Marvel's heaviest hitters, and during his Phoenix Force run, he was genuinely one of the most dangerous mutants alive. In Secret Wars S4, Cyclops hit God Emperor Doom with a full Phoenix Force blast. Doom absorbed it, grabbed him by the throat, and snapped his neck. The man brought a cosmic death ray to a god fight. A tier. Thor carried Stormbreaker through a dying star's core and buried it into a full infinity. Gauntlet, Thanos, a shot that nearly killed the most dangerous being in the universe. He's an Asgardian god with millennia of combat experience and unlimited lightning output. Then the Doomsday trailer dropped, and Doom dismissed Thor's full lightning discharge by raising 2 fingers. The thing is, Thor's entire strategy is overwhelming force, and Doom has specifically engineered counters for overwhelming force. You can't one-shot a man who never gives you the angle. B tier. Reed Richards has built entire counter architectures specifically for Dr. Doom, contingency plans, dimensional fail-safes, probability calculations running years ahead. He's Doom's only publicly acknowledged intellectual equal, and every Doombot iteration, armor upgrade, and every contingency protocol. Doom Engineers has Reed Richards as the benchmark. Doom's greatest psychological vulnerability isn't Thor's lightning or the Infinity Gauntlet. It's that Richards exists. The obsession is mutual, the preparation is mutual, and Reed actually knows where the scar tissue is. S tier. Peter Parker has a genius-level IQ, spider sense that processes threats before his brain does, and an improvisation style that's beaten enemies 3 weight classes above him. He's unpredictable in the specific way that makes calculated opponents miscalculate. But Doom performed X-brain surgery on the Hulk, literally separated Banner from the Hulk on an operating table. He has studied, mapped, and surgically disassembled smarter and stronger opponents than Peter Parker. The spider sense sees the punch coming. It does not help when the man throwing it already solved you last Tuesday. C tier. Doctor Strange held the Sorcerer Supreme title for decades. Doom took it from him, literally occupying Strange's mantle after the 2024-25 Vampire arc, meaning Strange fights his own replacement on his own magical turf using a title Doom currently owns. Strange's Vishanti tier spellcasting, Cloak of Levitation, and mastery of the Dark Dimension make him one of the few who can meet Doom on the sorcery front. But Doom is just the Sorcerer Supreme now. Showing up to reclaim your title is either heroic or a very elaborate job interview. B tier. Hulk is so dangerous that Doom didn't just fight him. He cracked open his skull and performed actual brain surgery to surgically separate Bruce Banner from the Hulk. And here's the thing, you don't disassemble an enemy you're not worried about. That's Doom quietly admitting the Hulk was too unpredictable to just punch back. The Hulk's strength ceiling is theoretically unlimited. The angrier he gets, the stronger he becomes, a feedback loop that has staggered planet-busting threats. He shrugged off energy blasts that would vaporize lesser heroes. But Doom apparently decided the smartest counter to infinite rage was a scalpel. Hulk is the strongest one there is, which, sure, Doom just surgically disagrees. A tier. War Machine rolls in with some of the most sophisticated military hardware on the planet. The Iron Patriot suite, Stark-built weapon systems, anti-armor ordnance capable of leveling small fortifications. But Doom hacked Ultron. He reverse-engineered vibranium properties that Wakandan scientists never discovered. Cracking Stark-derived armor isn't a challenge for him. It's apparently a Tuesday afternoon warm-up. I am War Machine. Cool. Doom is literally the guy who built a better version of your boss's suit before your boss did. D tier. Captain America brings a vibranium shield that staggered gods, a super soldier physique at the absolute peak of human performance, and enough tactical genius to lead every major Avengers lineup ever assembled. And then Doom defeated the combined Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men simultaneously in the 2026 One World Under Doom arc. All of them, at once. I can do this all day. Sure, Steve. Doom apparently did it in one afternoon. The shield is real. The will is unbreakable. The math just doesn't math. C tier. Hawkeye. Clint Barton has solved problems gods couldn't with nothing but a quiver and a plan. Explosive tips, EMP arrows, PIM particle shafts. Genuinely creative toolkit for a guy with zero superpowers. And then there's the other guy. Doom artificially recreated the power cosmic from scratch. Engineered cosmic energy in a lab. He reverse engineered the fundamental force that powers the Silver Surfer because apparently that was a Tuesday. None may challenge Doom. The thing is, a man who can synthesize the power cosmic from first principles can certainly slap together an arrow-proof force field before breakfast. Clint's arrows are creative. Doom's armor survived the Infinity Gauntlet. One of these facts matters more than the other. Respect the hustle, mourn the outcome. D tier. Bigont, man. Scott Lang once shrank inside Iron Man's suit mid-fight and rerouted the entire power grid. He phased through Yellow Jacket's quantum defenses by going subatomic. The man genuinely punches up. Then there's the armor problem. Doom's suit survived a direct blast from the Infinity Gauntlet, a full discharge from the most powerful object in the universe. The armor is essentially a walking god-proof container. Scott's entire strategy relies on finding structural weak points. A molecule-sized fist still can't dent metal that laughed off the gauntlet. Going subatomic inside Doom's armor doesn't disable it. It just means you're trapped inside a very angry, very magic tin can. None may challenge Doom. Quantum tricks work on enemies who haven't engineered cosmic energy from scratch on a Tuesday afternoon. D tier. Black Panther walks into this fight with vibranium nanotech armor, the Panther god's mystical enhancements, genius-level tactical IQ, and 5,000 years of Wakandan military knowledge behind him. And then there's the problem. Doom didn't just study vibranium, he discovered properties of vibranium that Wakanda's own scientists, with generational access to the source material, never figured out. T'Challa has built an entire civilization around this metal. Doom, read the footnotes. T'Challa missed. The thing is, Black Panther's greatest asset is also his greatest liability here. His vibranium mastery is the armor, the strategy, the identity. Doom knowing that material better than its own keeper isn't a minor disadvantage. It's like bringing a secret weapon and watching your opponent pull out the instruction manual. Doom does not battle. Doom conquers. T'Challa is dangerous. Doom just did his homework harder. C tier. Now, Tony Stark. The thing about Tony is, he's been quietly building toward this fight his entire career. He filed a patent on genius and then mass-produced it. His armor hit Mach 5 before he turned 40, and he's reverse-engineered alien tech that had a 1,000-year head start on him. On paper, the rivalry reads as clean symmetry. Two genius-level engineers, both operating in armor, both convinced they're the smartest person in the room. Tony even held his own against Doom in direct exchanges multiple times, which is genuinely impressive. But here's where it falls apart. Doom didn't just match Tony's engineering ceiling, he reverse-engineered the actual power cosmic. Tony's most ambitious project was a suit that could punch a Leviathan. Doom's most ambitious project was replicating cosmic divinity in a lab. And Doom has never named Stark his true rival. That seat belongs to Richards. Stark is the guy Doom respects enough to acknowledge, not enough to obsess over. I am Iron Man. Cool! Doom built a god engine in his basement. B tier. Carol Danvers in binary mode is outputting at star-busting photon levels. She tanked direct hits from Thanos, actual Thanos, and kept going. Then you remember that Doom's armor absorbed a blast from the Infinity Gauntlet itself, not a punching Thanos, the Gauntlet, the thing that erased half of existence with a finger snap. So the gap is real, but it's the narrowest gap we've seen from anyone on this list so far. Carol isn't looking for a workaround or a trick shot. She's physically operating at a scale that forces Doom to actually care. That's a rare position. I've been fighting with one fist tied behind my back. Against Doom, she'd need both fists, binary mode, and probably a very good plan. B tier. Storm is the rare hero who can threaten Doom on two fronts simultaneously. Ororo Monroe is Omega level, meaning her weather manipulation isn't just a power, it's a fundamental force of nature. One precisely targeted lightning strike and Doom's armor becomes a very expensive coffin. But she's not just a walking EMP. Storm holds a genuine sorcery-adjacent connection through her godhood, meaning she can engage Doom's mystical side in ways most tech-heavy names on this list simply cannot. She's one of the only heroes who can force Doom to split his focus, defend the armor, and respect the magic. I am Storm, I am Ororo of the X-Men, and the wind does not ask permission. Doom has contingencies for brute force and has studied sorcery his entire life. Storm being competent on both axes genuinely complicates his preparation. That's not nothing, that's actually threatening. A tier. Natasha Romanoff has logged more covert ops than most heroes have birthday candles. Widow's Bite, ICER rounds, world-class tradecraft, a brain that's run circles around heads of state, genuinely impressive against literally anyone who isn't wearing armor that shrugged off a point-blank atomic grenade. And that's exactly the problem. Every single tool in her toolkit was engineered for humans. Flesh, nerves, pain receptors. Doom has none of those vulnerabilities on the table. Her electroshock gauntlets hitting his armor is basically a AAA battery tapping a blast furnace. The thing is, Natasha is elite at information warfare and infiltration, but Doom built Doombots convincing enough to fool the entire Avengers. You cannot outspy the man who manufactured his own decoys. Her best shot is a minor inconvenience in a very expensive suit. D tier. Sam Wilson stepped into the Shield in 2023's Brave New World with real tactical intelligence, elite aerial combat training, and the EX-07 Falcon Wing system. Genuinely one of the more adaptable Caps Marvel has put on screen. And then you remember who he's flying toward. The EX-07's wings are mechanical. Doom reverse engineered the power cosmic from scratch. Hacking a pair of carbon fiber wings and a comms rig is not a challenge for a man who cracked Ultron. One electromagnetic pulse, override signal, targeted frequency disruption, and suddenly, Sam is a guy in a patriotic suit falling out of the sky at terminal velocity. Sam's entire advantage over Steve is adaptability. He reads situations fast, improvises, thinks laterally mid-combat. That skill set is completely neutralized when your opponent has already gamed out every tech variable before the fight started. Brave? Absolutely. Threatening to Doom? Not even remotely. D tier. Scarlet Witch. Wanda Maximoff rewrote the entire genetic reality of a species with 3 words. No more mutants. Hundreds of thousands of mutants lost their powers overnight. It was a casual sentence with the weight of a bomb detonation. And Doom, who currently holds the Sorcerer Supreme mantle, absolutely knows this. Chaos magic doesn't operate by the same rules as structured sorcery. You can't build a counter-armor for it. It's not a frequency you can jam. Doom's entire advantage is that he understands every system he faces. Wanda isn't a system. But here's the thing. Doom doesn't even need to beat her power. He just needs to beat her timeline. Wanda's greatest enemy has always been Wanda. She collapsed under the weight of House of M. She's rewritten reality in grief before Doom ever threw a punch. The power? Genuinely terrifying. The pilot flying it? Historically unreliable. Doom might just wait. B tier. Matt Murdock's radar sense is genuinely one of Marvel's most impressive perceptual systems. He reads heartbeats, maps spaces through vibration, tracks opponents in complete darkness at a granular level most fighters can't imagine. His street-level mastery is borderline supernatural. He's called Doom his strongest foe, which is either high praise for Doom or a concerning self-assessment from Matt. And then there's the actual fight. Doom met Daredevil in a subway and decided the situation didn't warrant magic, no gadgets either. He beat Matt Murdock without activating a single spell or pulling a single tool, basically the way you'd swat a fly while reading a newspaper. The Trapster fought him right before this. Let that land. Doom's armor is Ladverian alloy with its own sensory blocking properties. He can fight blind. He can silence a space. Every biological advantage Matt has built his identity around becomes noise interference the moment Doom decides to care. Daredevil didn't lose to Doom's greatest weapon. He lost before Doom bothered to use one. D tier. Silver Surfer. Norrin Radd has the actual power cosmic, not the version Doom reverse engineered in a Ladverian lab and quietly decided was close enough. And that distinction matters more than anything else on this list. Doom's artificial recreation of the power cosmic is one of his most impressive intellectual achievements. He built it from scratch. But building a copy is an implicit admission that you couldn't take the source. The Surfer channels energy at a cosmic scale. Doom has studied this. He's approximated it. He has never matched it. Doom respects very few power sets enough to replicate them. Silver Surfer's is the one he chose. That's not a rivalry. That's a ranking. S tier. Bucky Barnes. The man has a vibranium arm and approximately nothing else that matters here. And look, that arm is genuinely impressive. Vibranium alloy, cybernetically integrated, capable of blocking blows that would liquefy a normal shoulder. He's wielded it against super soldiers, assassins, and whatever the Winter Soldier program's idea of a stress test was. But Doom would identify that arm in about 4 seconds. Strip away the arm's edge and here's what you have left. A peak human fighter with elite tactical training, a sidearm, and the kind of grit that genuinely should mean something. It doesn't mean something here. Bucky's entire threat model is built around physical superiority over humans, which is exactly the category Doom stopped being vulnerable to around 1962. I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to end you. D tier. Franklin Richards was born the son of Reed and Sue Richards, which already makes him cosmic royalty by accident. Then, he grew up to casually rebuild the entire multiverse after Secret Wars using nothing but his imagination. He doesn't bend physics, he replaces them. During Secret Wars, Franklin had created and sustained entire pocket universes for years before Doom even touched the Infinity Gauntlet. Doom absorbed that and still went out of his way to keep Franklin controlled, and that distinction is everything. Doom doesn't fear opponents he can destroy. He fears opponents he can't categorize. Franklin's power output has fluctuated wildly depending on his emotional state, age, and writers who apparently couldn't agree on what he should be capable of on any given Tuesday. But if Franklin walks in focused, Doom's not fighting him. Doom's negotiating. That's not a compliment you earn. That's one you're born into. S tier. All right, we've saved the best for last. Owen Reese doesn't look like a threat. He looks like a nervous accountant who apologizes for existing. But in 2015's Secret Wars, Doom didn't become God Emperor because of the armor or the sorcery or the intellect. He became God Emperor because Owen Reese let him molecule. Man was the hidden battery behind the whole operation, a man whose matter manipulation runs so deep he can restructure reality at the subatomic level, which means he can delete anything made of atoms. So, everything. If Owen Reese handed Doom the keys to godhood, the logical conclusion is that Owen can also change the locks. He doesn't need to outfight Doom or outsmart him, he just needs to decide that Doom's armor, sorcery, his entire physical existence is made of matter he'd like rearranged. Doom knows this. He kept Owen close during Secret Wars the same way you keep the fuse box locked, not because you're scared of electricity, but because you respect what it can turn off. The man who made Doom a god is the only man Doom genuinely cannot afford to antagonize. S tier, obviously. Subscribe to the channel for more tier lists. See you next time.